Welcome to the Rising Consciousness Show, 20 minutes of soulful insights and powerful tools to elevate your life experience and create with higher clarity, intention, and vision. I'm Tara Antler, intuitive healer and soul coach.
And I'm King Gabriel, spiritual teacher and practitioner. And we are the co-founders of Ascension Academy of Light,
a global center for spiritual growth, intuitive healing, and soul alignment.
Get ready to blast off.
Hi, Radiant Being. I am so grateful to connect with you for some plug-in and power up. How are you today? I hope you are fabulous and wonderful. I have so much that I want to share with you. I was chatting with Creator about all sorts of things a lot over the last couple days. I mean, I do every day, but really intently over the last couple days, just as I can feel this rebirth and this recreation happening inside of myself, inside of our business, inside of the world, all the things being recreated in this moment. And I really wanted to speak into that I believe right now is our time to create consciously our world. And I'll tell you how this all got started. So I was blow drying my hair. I usually only blow dry my hair once a week. And I was blow drying my hair today. And I was talking with the divine. And I said, okay, show me how you would have me serve. Show me what's in the highest and best good. Show me what you want me to focus on. Show me how to be of service to the community, to the world. I'm here. This is something that I've been doing, asking this question and setting forth this intention for over 25 years. And it usually comes like a heavy hitter in and around the time that there's major change happening. So I want you to pause there for a second. Think about your own life. Think about the world. What are you seeing happening inside, outside? What are you seeing happening in the world? What are you seeing happening within yourself? What are you seeing happening in and around your surroundings? Is there anything changing or is it all the same? I don't know about you, but I'm seeing a whole lot of change happening. I've been seeing a lot of change happening for years, but right now I feel like we're in this really interesting toffee stretch moment where there's a whole lot that's being up for grabs in terms of creation and a whole lot that's being dismantled simultaneously. And that can feel really wobbly and really uncertain because we like stable. I like stable. And I didn't realize until late last night, I was listening to something and I was talking to the divine and I was journal writing and I realized I got really comfortable. Anybody relate? I got super comfortable. We got comfortable in our launch cycle. We got comfortable in our life. We were getting comfortable with a certain income coming in regularly for the last 5 years, being online, intensely online for the last 5 years. We got comfortable with our launches. We got comfortable with how to serve our clients in the highest and best way. We started to get comfortable. Now, comfortable is wonderful. We all love comfort. I like being comfortable, especially if it's cold outside like it is today. I like cozying up with a blanket. I like being comfortable. I think we all like being comfortable. We like being comforted. And yet, comfortable doesn't mean growth. Comfortable is sustaining. Comfortable is hanging out here in this middle band where we're like, if life could just continue like this, I'd be all right. But we know life doesn't do that. Life has waves and fluctuations. Look at your heartbeat. Your heartbeat isn't just like this. That's what we call a flat line. Your heart's going, right? It's beating. Your nervous system is having fluctuations. Your digestive system has fluctuations. We have fluctuations happening all day long inside of us. It makes sense that there would be external fluctuations as well. How do we adapt to these fluctuations is the big question that I've been asking myself. And you guys let me know in the comments how that's been for you. But I've been feeling major fluctuations, major energy churns and inside out, upside down moments. But it's great because it's causing me to ask bigger questions again. Get outside of the comfort zone, stretch a little bit more. And while I was blow drying my hair, I said to Creator this exact statement. I had to write it down so I didn't forget. But I said, okay, I want to see a world and I want to experience a world that is, and I filled in the blank. And for me, I've always wanted to see and experience a world that is beautiful, that is kind, that is loving, that is abundant, that is beautiful. And not just for myself, for everyone. I want everyone to be healthy. I want everyone to be overflowing in abundance. I want everyone to create the type of life and world that they choose and that they want. This is the heaven on earth experience that Gabriel and I often talk about. And Creator's answer was this, and so it shall be. You are all free to create as you wish, all the time. This has forever been the case. This will forever be the case. But what you're doing with your creation energy and your creation power, you're not utilizing it to your max. You're not utilizing it in the way that a grand creator could create. And that hit me so hard this morning because I was like, whoa, we already have the power to create. We already have the ability to create worlds upon worlds. We have the ability to create the type of life. So here we all are. We're like wishing and we're praying and we're like, I really want to experience a life that is. And then what happens? So you get the dream, you get the vision, you get the intention, you've got that vibe. You're like, I want to create a world that is, and you fill in your blank, right? And then what happens is we start getting pulled out of that, out of sync, off center by all sorts of things, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, and then how to remedy it. So Creator kept saying, what are you creating? And so it shall be. What are you creating? Now, what are you creating? In the next moment, what are you creating? What are you creating? I've given you the power to create. What are you doing with it? And I started to reflect on this as humanity, right? I see the fluctuations in the world. I see the changes that are happening in the world. I see the fallout of certain things, seeing the recreation of certain things. And where we get lost a lot of times is in the constant plugging back into the old systems. So we watch a system fall, or we recognize that that system or that thing, that framework, that creation isn't working. Whatever we've created as a collective, as a society, as a human race, it's not working. But then what do we do with that? Most of the time, people keep plugging back into the same thing. They're like, yeah, but look at what's happening now. Yeah, but look at what's being created now. Yeah, but look at what the result is now. And all of a sudden, all of our attention, all of our energy is being redirected back into the old creation, which then recreates itself for us to experience again and again and again and again and again and again. And then we're like, I don't know why it's not changing. I don't know why the world's not changing. I don't know why that thing's not changing. And you're like, all of a sudden you see it and you go, oh, I'm plugging back in to the old creation. I'm plugging back into what was that I didn't like, that I wanted to change, but I know what I want, but I keep falling back into the old, partly because of our comforts, partly because of our hooks. We all have energetic hooks. That's the past. We all have things that pull us back. Could be a conversation with someone. It could be looking at the external world. It could be something that we feel inside of ourselves that we haven't yet healed or maybe dismantled enough to then rebuild ourselves. And so we keep falling back in to the old creations, and then we wonder why we keep experiencing the same thing over and over again. And part of that is because of the comforts. When we get comfortable, we've slid into a pocket of reality that's fine, it's good. And if you're really wanting to create what's next for you, you have to be willing to stretch and grow continuously. And then Spirit has always shown me this. They said, you're going to grow and then you plateau for a little bit. You integrate. That integration period is essential. But then something's going to come. If you try to hold this line for too long, something's going to come and rock your world over here to have you grow again. And this is where we resist the growth because it feels so freaking uncomfortable. And I said this to Gabriel. I'm like, I actually feel like Creator and all of the universal field and energy has been moving us inevitably toward the conversation of manifestation consistently. We talk about it in all our programs. We weave it into all our things. I'm going to say hi to everybody here in a moment. We weave it into all our programs. And yet, right now in this moment, I'm feeling like this is the point of mastery that people need to get to now. So let me say hi to some people and then I'm going to continue the conversation. Hi, Megan. Thanks for being here. Hi, Kat. Hi, Tika. Hi, B. So grateful. I saw a couple of others pop on, but I'm not seeing comments as much as I usually do today. Hi, Danny. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. So what do we do then, right? Like, what do we do? In order to do this thing, in order to actually create something new, it comes down to a few things, okay? A few important things that I see. Now, there's many formulas for creation. You guys know in Thrive Evolution, we have a whole formula for creation. And I said to Gabriel, what I think's being asked of us in this moment is to retweak what's happening in Thrive to have it be a continuous conversation of manifestation. Because even in the intuition section that I've been teaching intuition expansion, I used to call it the expanded intuition program. All the way back 10 years ago, more than that actually, I would say even 15 years ago, prior to having kids. But the expanded intuition course got created when I was pregnant with Aria, and I used to teach it live in person. And I said, I'm even being asked to evolve those teachings to have it be more about the power of manifestation and using your intuition than just let's open our intuition. You know what I mean? I think there was a time for that. I really believe there was a time in our evolution, spiritually and for humanity, where it was important to open up our intuition. We were curious. And have you ever been curious about like some part of you that seems so mystical and magical? Maybe it was speaking to angels. Maybe it was the whole world of other beings. Maybe it was knowing that you're the whole universe. Maybe it was, I think about the Kabbalion, and the universal laws. Maybe that was the thing that was like, whoa, totally blew you open. So many spiritual mysticism pieces blew me wide open along my journey. And I've always been a teacher. This is just something that has come through my entire life, all the way back to when I was a kid. I was teaching kids things when I was a kid. This is a part of who I am. I can't help myself, right? Just because it was part of my purpose. But I remember teaching intuition, and it was like the basics, right? Of what is your intuition? What's the pineal gland? Back then, people didn't know what the pineal gland was. Now I think everybody knows what the pineal gland is. People didn't really know much about their third eye. I think everybody kind of knows about their third eye now. Third eye vision. It's woven into songs. It's woven into movies and TV shows now. It's everywhere. People are more open now. So there's an evolution being asked even as leaders and as teachers for us to how does this is what I'm being led to, how does this relate to manifestation? How does this relate to creating heaven on earth? How does this relate to creating the best experience, the best life ever? And intuition has everything to do with it, right? So I'm seeing everything right now from a completely different lens, which is really exciting. And I'm sharing this because I bet there's certain things in your life that you're meant to bring onto the planet, that you're meant to serve, that you're meant to share and shine, that may be asking for a revision, a new version, a higher level of that content. I can almost guarantee it. And if you ever feel the prolonged plateau, that's what I would call it, the prolonged plateau, it's because you're not taking your growth. You're getting the tap on the shoulder, you're getting the little bumps, you're getting the friction moments, you're getting the things aren't working. That's the prolonged plateau. We're trying to hold on to what was old, what was good. Sometimes we hold on to things because they're good. I liked holding on to the good old days, right? I love holding on to those things that work. But then what happens when they're not working in the way that you know that they could be? It rattles us. It moves us. It changes our insides. It gets us inspired again. Fear ignites us sometimes. It rattles something. So what's being rattled up within you? And what needs a revision right now? So that's the very first thing that I would start to look at. The second thing is this. What are you dreaming into? What are you dreaming into? We know that imagination plays such a huge part in our ability to create. I realized this morning when I woke up, I'm like, whoa, I've been so busy doing. I haven't really been visioning. I haven't been imagining in the capacity that I love to. When the twins were first born, because I had so very little sleep, it puts you in a very different altered brainwave state when you're on 2 to 3 hours of sleep every night for 6 months, okay? It puts you in a very different brainwave state. But the cool thing about that time period was I was in almost like a lucid wake dream state. All day felt like I was half awake, half asleep. It was lucid dreaming awake. I was in imagination all the time. I was creating in my mind all the time. I was weaving new things all the time. But then as I start to get more sleep, my active mind, my brain starts to get fired up and be like, ooh, I got so much more energy now. Now we go into the busyness. And the busyness isn't wrong. The action isn't wrong. It's essential to create on this planet. And there's a harmonized balance, a harmonization space for both. To dream and to action to dream, right? And so what are you dreaming into right now? And this is where intuition plays a really big part, because without the imagination, without the dream, life looks pretty flat. Life looks pretty mediocre. Life looks very plateaued. And so we want to dream bigger again. And this is where the intuition plays a really big part. And this is what I'm really being guided to bring forth in Thrive Evolution this round. The intuition expansion, the intuition mastery section is not only about what you're awakening on the inside, but what you're also imagining out into the world. We all say we want the world to change. We all say we want to create something new. Many of us are tired of seeing the same old SHIT out there in the world, and we want to see something different. We want new systems, we want new frameworks, we want a new living, we want a new life, we want everybody to be happy and healthy and abundant and beautiful, living their best life ever. But what are we doing on the inside? What are we activating on the inside in terms of our imagination that then gets pumped out into the world? And this is going to be a big focus for me this year in Thrive Evolution for this intuition section, because I think it's essential at this point. I really think it's essential. So the next piece, number 3, is regulating yourself. Learning how to regulate yourself. This is so important. I've been seeing this over and over and over again in our clients, even in myself. There are distractions everywhere right now. If you do not know how to regulate yourself, meaning you don't know how to bring yourself, reel yourself back in. Creator always used to show me fishing examples, probably because I grew up in a hunting and fishing lodge and my parents fished and my grandparents fished and my brother fishes and we're having a fishing derby next weekend. Like, it's just been ingrained. It's been a part of our society, our culture, our family. So they would always say, what are you casting a line for? And then once your lines are out there, do you know how to reel yourself back in? When you hit a snag, do you know how to reel yourself back in? When you get caught in the weeds, do you know how to reel yourself back in? I think this is so important for us because many people, we lose sight of that. And we get caught in the weeds and we get caught in the muck and we get caught in the ego and we get caught in the distraction. We get caught in the world saying, no, that's not possible. Didn't you see? Like, the world's falling. Chicken Little, the sky is falling. Can't you see? What if it's not? What if it's being reworked? And what if our part to play in that is to reel ourselves back in, to know how to self-regulate our emotions? Our emotions could totally take over and become so irrational. I've seen it with myself. I've seen it with our kids. Watch a child have a temper tantrum. It doesn't make any logical sense. And as the adult, you're trying to come at it from a logical perspective, being like, okay, what's the matter? What's going on? Let's calm down. Let's take a couple deep breaths. And the child's just like erratic, total emotional blowout meltdown. We have those too as adults. We need to learn how to regulate ourselves, regulate our emotions, regulate our thoughts, regulate our energy. And all of that is really important because if, again, we don't know how to do that, we're going to fall into distraction, we're going to fall into ego, we're going to fall into the thoughts of other people, the projections of other people, or we'll fall into the feelings and maybe all the crazy stuff that's happening in the world. And then we've just fallen with the fold. And that becomes really hard to get out of because you start seeing differently. Your perspective and your perception changes, it lowers. And then you start seeing through a very low filter, which isn't so imaginative, not so exciting, not so inspiring. And then we wonder why. We're like, gosh, I'm just so tired all the time. Why is stuff not working in the way that I want it to? Because we're not claiming our power when it comes to our creations and our manifestations. Okay? And I have an example for you, actually. I was reminded of this today. There have been so many times in my journey, especially 22 years being a business owner, where I've had to take major leaps of faith when no one was doing what I was doing. 22 years ago, and I'd say even 23, 24 years ago, when I first started learning about Reiki and chakras and energy healing, even in university, my third year university, when this whole world got opened up to me, no one was talking about this stuff. No, not no one, very few, like maybe 1% of the population. And I had to take major leaps of faith because everyone in my university cohort, they were becoming doctors, lawyers, engineers, nurses, teachers, psychologists, physiotherapists. Those were kind of the main. Kinesiologists. Some would go into business and marketing. No one in my field. And I had a cohort, by the time we graduated, I think there was about 300 people. No one else in that cohort became a healer. That's what I stepped into. It took major courage to do that. Everyone else was going mainstream and I was like, this I feel is my path over here. I'm going to be the first to lead it. I'm going to be the first to say I'm an intuitive healer. In my cohort of 300 graduating, what are you going to do after university? Everybody's like, I'm going to grad school. I'm doing my master's in whatever. I'm going to become a teacher. I'm becoming a doctor. I'm becoming a lawyer. I'm becoming a physiotherapist, which I thought I was going to be. What are you doing, Tara? I'm going to holistic college. What's holistic college? I'm going to become a holistic healthcare practitioner. Interesting. And this was just the beginning. That took a lot of courage and faith to do that 25 years ago when no one else was talking about it. I was definitely the first within my community, first within my family, first within my peer group, first within my university cohort of 300 people. And now look at where the world is. It's like everybody has a healer. They say something on speed dial, right? I would say a healer. Everybody has a healer on speed dial. That only took 25 years. That's big growth, I think, in 25 years. To go from hardly anybody knowing about what a healer was to now everybody knows what a healer is. Then in my career, so I started out with aromatherapy, reflexology, things people knew. And I remember somebody telling me that. They said, don't start with leading with the intuitive healing. Start with what people know and then bring that in. I was like, that makes sense. And I created a bridge. But more and more, Spirit was calling me over from aromatherapy, reflexology, and all the physical pieces, massage, over to doing more energy work. And people kept leaning in. They're like, this is a really different massage, Tara. I've never experienced a massage like that. And it would open the door to have the conversation about energy healing. That took courage and faith for me to be able to do that too. This is what I'm saying is that you all have something in your world right now that's asking you to step outside of your comfort zone, but are you doing it? You might be the first in your family to do something totally, radically different than anybody else has. You might be the first in your culture to do something so radically different. You might be the first person in your town or city that you live in. This is where we need to start living and creating by faith, by conviction, by our heart, by our energy, by our mission, by all of it. And yes, we're going to be scared. I was scared to lead with energy healing. All my peers in holistic healthcare practitioner college, they became aromatherapists, massage therapists, reflexologists. I was that too. And Spirit kept saying, focus more on energy work. And then years later, this is where I shared, every part along the way, I had resistance. Tara, I don't know if you want to focus on energy work. Not everybody's ready for that. Not everybody's ready to talk about chakras and chakra balancing. And I'm like, I hear that, and I could easily fall in the fold of the doubt of that and the fear and the insecurity, or I could return back to myself and listen to my truth and listen to what Creator has designed for me and with me through me, and listen to that and follow that through. And I'm so glad every single time I did, because it always brought me up. It always grew me, quantum leapt me to the next level. And it was the same thing. I remember when my mom and dad, they said, I had a busy practice. This is after I left the Ministry of Health, which everybody, poo-pooed upon me about that too. What are you doing? You're leaving the Ministry of Health. You're leaving the consistency of income. You're leaving your pension. You're leaving your benefits. You're leaving all that stuff behind. This is a sweet spot to be. You only have to be here 40 more years or 30 more years, and then you can retire. And I'm like, oh my God, that felt like a death sentence to me. I was like, there's no way. I had to hit resistance to move through that too. Bye-bye, I'm out. Going to start my own business. Do you know how hard it is to start your own business? Do you know how hard it is to become an entrepreneur? I'm like, I don't care at this point. I know that that's where I'm going. That's the mission. Every single time you have a growth spurt, a growth moment, you're going to be challenged by the ego. You're going to be challenged by the external world. You're going to hear your own thoughts and fears come up. What do you do in the face of that? Do you keep the course? Do you stay the path? Or do you fall with the fold and fall into the fear? The same thing when I decided, Mom and Dad, I'm moving to California. They're like, what? You just built this big, beautiful practice in Toronto. You have so many clients. You've built this over the last, 10 years? You're going to do what now? You're going to lose all that income. You're going to lose all those clients. How are you going to build that back up again? I'm just feeling a calling. I got to follow the calling. And it always worked out. I had some of the best clients. I worked with actors and screenwriters and musicians, so many incredible people I met. It was absolutely amazing. And that's how I met Gabriel. Hi, honey. It was the same thing with every point along the way where you are asked to grow to your next soul level. You're asked to create and manifest the next piece. You're going to hit the plateau. It's your choice if you stay in the prolonged plateau or if you take your growth. I remember when I said to my mom and dad after I had a busy practice, and I said, you know what, I need to stop seeing clients for a while because I was seeing 8 to 9 clients a day. It was way too much for 6 months consistently. I couldn't see clients anymore. I had to take a pause. So they said, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I'm burnt out. Like whatever age I was then, I was like, I'm burnt out. 25, 26, I don't know, 27, somewhere around there, 27. I'm like, I can't. What are you going to do? This is what you did all your training for. This is what you've been working toward. I'm like, I know there's a way. I'm going to go consult. I'm going to do something. I've got a lot of value to give. I know something will come. And sure enough, something came because my conviction and I stood in it was strong enough to pull me through the fear. And then when I said, I only want to work 4 days a week, you know how many people said, you're crazy? That's not possible as an entrepreneur. There's no way you can be an active, busy, beautiful, abundant, have a great business and work 3 days a week, 4 days a week. There's no way. And I'm like, I'm going to give it a go and see what happens. And I did, and it worked. Fast forward to when I had the twins. There's no way you're going to be able to still have your business. What are you going to do, Tara? Now you have 3 little kids under 3. You have twins now. You know how hard that is? I heard this so many times, you guys, from people. Every time people be like, oh, you're pregnant, congratulations. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, what are you having? I'm like, with twins. They're like, oh. Every time. Not one person who had babies or children. Maybe other people were excited. But the ones that already had children, there were very few that were like, yay! Most were like, oh. How are you going to build your business? How are you going to keep things afloat? How are you going to see clients? How are you going to do the things that you're going to do? I'm like, I don't know. I know that I'm going to be a mom, and I know I'm going to have twins, and I know I'm going to have 3 under 3, and I'm still going to have a business and I'm going to be of service because that's my purpose. Do you know how many people said it's not possible to build a business in 2 hours a day? That's what I did. That's all I had when the twins were born, 2 hours a day. And that was the start of our best business ever. That's where we climbed, we skyrocketed. Now, we don't talk about and throw around the money conversation here. This is just not who we are. But honestly, you guys, we had the best business run ever. And worked 2 hours a day. The math doesn't add up. It really doesn't add up. So what I'm saying in all of this is this. When you learn how to regulate yourself, when you learn how to follow your mission and your purpose, when you learn to lead yourself through all of it, you can really do anything, for real. You can do anything. You could have the most magical life. You could create the most exceptional experiences. You could create the most hellish experiences if you want. It's all a matter of what's in here. Where's your mind going? Are you regulating your energy and your emotions? What kind of guidance are you listening to? Are you willing to stretch yourself? Are you stuck in the plateau? And the last piece I have for you is this. Do you know inherently, do you know the principles of creation and manifestation? There are some steadfast, tried and true, forever in existence, clear, easy manifestation principles. Do you know them? And if you know them, are you exercising them? Are you doing the thing? This is what's so important. This is what sets people aside from mediocre, exceptional, average, best life ever. This is what sets us apart. And so this is where Gabriel and I've really been feeling this inner reworking, a whole inner reworking. I'm going to pause there. I want to say hi to a few more people. Hi, Louise. Thank you, Brooke, so much. Nice to see you. Hi, Luana. Nice to see you. Hi, Sue. So grateful to have you all here. Megan saying, yes, I'm so happy you always followed your intuition. Me too. Hi, Stella. Nice to see you. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Fernanda. Hi, Kendra. So thankful. You talk about intuition because even 5 years ago, not many people were talking about it. And now everybody's talking about it. This is the thing. Gabriel and I have always been on the edge of leading a new movement, of leading a new conversation. That's scary because it means you're doing something that no one else is. You're leading in a way that it's not proven yet. You're leading in a way where no one else is doing the thing. This has always been Gabriel and I. And even as I reflect on that, I'm so grateful. It could actually bring me to tears right now. I'm so grateful that we've listened intuitively, that we've followed that through, because it's brought us to the most magical experiences and places. We've met the most amazing people along our journey. And that's because we followed the flow. Most people would say, husband and wife duo, doing a business and raising a family and homeschooling, impossible. We're doing it. Does it mean we haven't had bumps? No, we've had bumps. But we also have the tools. We know how to move through it. Most people said to us, you have to niche. You have to niche down, Tara. I have never niched in my life. And I've had the most successful business for me. In comparison to other people, it might be peanuts. I know people that are doing 50 million a year. For me, this business round, the last 5 years has been a personal best for me. This lifetime anyways. On so many levels. Even when I look back to the last launch that we just did, Gabriel and I, that was our personal best. How we showed up, how we led, what we brought forth, how we jived, how it flowed, how the funniness of it, the laughter, like the information that came through. We were lit up by it. Not exhausted. And I'm like, oh, I need to go take a week off now. I need to go take 5 days off now. I need to go take even a day off right now. I didn't need to do any of that this time because I held my energy so steady and so strong. I led with my heart fully. So did Gabriel. There are things people are going to say that are not possible. That's the noise. That comes back to one of the points that I just mentioned. Are you regulating yourself? Are you regulating what comes into your head? Are you regulating your own thoughts? Are you regulating the ego? Because the ego is going to come up. Every time you grow, the ego is going to come up. You get to live your best experience ever. And you're going to hear Gabriel and I talk a lot about this right now because we are going through a rebirth moment. I can feel it. There's a rebirth happening because the kiddos are growing. The boys don't need me for breastfeeding anymore. That's been just over a year now. I breastfed them till 4.5. Never thought I would do that in a million years. And I did. Never thought I would breastfeed on camera. I did. Never thought I'd be able to breastfeed and teach and hold it together and still stay focused. And I did. Never thought in a million years that I'd still have a smile on my face while running a business with my husband, homeschooling, meeting all the day-to-day challenges and all the day-to-day stuff, and still be able to show up and be like, nailing it, right? And here we are. Are there bumps? Yes. Are there moments of constriction? Yes. Am I going through one right now? Yes. But am I still smiling? Yes, because I know that this is a growth moment. This is a 5-year rebirth cycle. Gabriel and I have them together. 5-year rebirth, 5-year rebirth. You have that in your life too. Some of you, it might be 3, 7, 5, 8, 10. You all have cyclical time periods in your life where you're asked to rebirth yourself. This is what I'm talking about. Like, we get comfortable, we integrate, we plateau, but then there's a prolonged plateau. That's our growth moment again. And it feels really uncomfortable because it has you questioning everything. Right now, I'm literally questioning everything about our business. I'm like, what do we want to do in this next leg? How do we want to serve? What do we want to focus on? Creator, guide the way. Higher self, guide the way. I'm listening. I'm here. This is what I've done every single time. I could give you 15 other examples in the last 22 years of my business that I've had to do this. Spirit, lead the way. Spirit, guide the way. Show me where to go. When I was traveling back and forth from California to Toronto, I didn't have a place to live. I let go of my apartment. I was house sitting in California, and I'd come back to Toronto and I'd see clients, and I'd stay with my brother. I'd stay with my friend Michelle. I'd stay with my friend Mary. I'd stay with my friend Mel. And then I'd bounce back again. I'd come up north for a couple of weeks, and then I'd bounce back down to Toronto, and then I'd fly to LA. And then there was a point where I was like, okay, LA was starting to change. It was starting to close down. And I was like, okay, where are we going? And then there was a big leap. Gabriel and I, we were like, Gabriel has to go back to Trinidad. His mom was passing away. We got to be there for her. And then we're going to be there for a while. Okay, we're going to do that. And we were in Trinidad and I was in Toronto. I held the closet open for Gabriel. I got a new apartment. Some of you might remember you were there when I was leading workshops and seeing clients in this beautiful space, Glen Rush and Coldstream in Toronto. Beautiful, beautiful property. I held half the closet open for Gabriel, waiting for immigration to come through. And it came through fast, 8 months, but not in the fast enough time for him to be in that apartment. So there came a point where it was coming up to the year mark, and it all happened so beautifully. I remember the owner of the place, he said, look, he goes, we love having you here. And if you say that you want to stay, then we're going to keep it as it is. But this is what we're feeling. We really want to sell this place. We're feeling that call right now. Our kids are gone. We're empty nesters. We love having you here. And yet we feel like this is such a big house for us. And I think they were in their 70s, late 70s at the time. And they said, we're ready to sell. And I said, you know what, this works out perfectly because I'm getting the strong call that it's time for me to be with my husband. It's time to be with Gabriel. We were married at the time and we were having a marriage distance relationship. Imagine. We'd only see each other once every 3 months. That was hard. I don't have to talk about that. That was really challenging while keeping my business afloat, while having our marriage afloat. And so he was in Trinidad, and then we both got the call, it's time to go to Ireland. And so I said, it's time for me to be with my husband. We're going to Ireland. And they were so excited for me. They celebrated. They were so, so happy. And that began a whole other journey. I face the same fears that I'm facing now. What am I going to do? How am I going to see clients? How's this all going to work out? What am I going to teach? How am I going to see clients? Where am I going to lead? I'm moving to Ireland, where technically I'm not even supposed to be working. That was hard. That was challenging. And yet I was like, we're going to do it. Somehow, some way, we're going to do it. We found a great house that we house sat. We didn't have to pay rent. It was beautiful. We took care of horses. That was the beginning of my online journey. That was 13 years ago. That was the beginning of my online journey. And so many incredible things have happened since then. So many things. I could tell you so many stories like this, so many times in my journey where I have felt so uncomfortable, unsure, completely unsure as to what's going to come next. I'm in one of those now. I'm like, I have no idea. And I keep hearing, you got to include the kids now. Aria just wrote her first book. I want to go help her publish it. Right? Like, she designed it. She created it herself. She's been creating books for years now, but this is the first one she actually said, I want to publish this, Mommy. I want other kids to have this. And I was like, okay, let's do it. I want to be able to help her do that. I want to be able to weave in more things with them. They have so much wisdom and so much to share. I want to weave more of that in. See, I'm getting excited as I talk about this. I want to be able to lead people in business. This is something that's been coming up and I have resisted it for years, you guys. So many people have come to us and been like, can you help me with my business? I'm like, I'm not a business coach. But you have 22 years of business experience. I'm like, I'm not a business coach. I want to help people grow what they want. I know what it feels like when you have a calling, when you have a purpose, when you have a mission, and you want to bring it to the world. I know what that feels like to actually do it in so many different ways. So that's another thing that you're going to see some changes happening in our world. And right now, Gabriel and I were so excited about the evolution of Thrive. Thrive will forever exist. It's just going to change how it's going to be delivered in the future. So Thrive Evolution is what we've got going on now. We're changing the intuition content, so it's more about manifestation focused. The whole program is going to be manifestation focused because I feel like this is what Spirit's been pushing me toward forever. I'm finally just now like, like I'm hearing the day. I think back to when Brooke and I had led a bun dance. We co-facilitated a workshop together for Misty Tripoli and for the World Groove Method or some World Groove Movement. And it was called a bun dance. And we both talked about manifestation, and Brooke brought in the movement piece and how important it was to move your body, to be in the movement and creating a bun dance, right? And I brought forward all these manifestation principles. When I look at the common thread, I'm like, I've been talking about manifestation my whole life. If I look back at all the plug-in and power-ups I've done this year, I probably talked about manifestation 80% of the time, right? Remember a bun dance, right? So you have clues in your life. Your higher self doesn't leave you hanging high and dry. Your higher self is like, I'm going to show you. Here it is. I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to show you. But are you looking? Are you paying attention? Or are we so inundated with, oh my God, what's everybody else doing? What do I have to focus on? What do I have to do? I got to build my business. I got to do the thing. Right? And we're like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing next. My higher self isn't talking to me. I guarantee that it is. It's just you're inundated. You're plugged up. You're fogged up. The lens is foggy. The windshield's foggy. Can't see because of what we're looking at externally. So this is the recalibration that Gabriel and I are doing right now for ourselves, for our clients, and our community. So if any of that speaks to you and you want to come and refine and sharpen your intuition, not just to cleanse and clear your intuition, but also to hyper manifest, let me know. Private message me. I'll send you the link for this next module. It's so amazing, the work that we get to do. And I'm so excited about this next version. The next thing that we've got going on that we're getting ready to ignite in the world tomorrow. Our alumni students already know about it, but it's a mastermind, a 3-month mastermind that Gabriel and I are igniting called Actualize, because this has been a big part of our journey. When Ascension Academy of Light came together, Gabriel was Ascension, I was Academy of Light, and we brought it together. And I can't remember if I was pregnant with Aria or if I was holding her as a wee little baby, but I remember being in Barrie, the bottom of our stairs, and I looked up at the top of the stairs and Gabriel was there, and I said, it's time for us to bring our businesses together. He's like, yeah, I've been saying that for years. I'm like, I know, but I wasn't ready until now. And he said, okay, so what's it going to be? And I'm like, I still really like Academy of Light. He goes, well, I'm just really focused on Ascension. And I said, Eureka, why don't we just put it together? Ascension Academy of Light. And we had this whole framework drop down around A's, right? Like Ascension, Align, Awaken. We were already teaching Awakening at that point, but it was time for the next level. And so this actualized mastermind is going to be focused on business, creation, manifestation, and all the things that I'm talking about in terms of regulating yourself. And we're going to start initiating the business pieces, bring it to the next level of what creators like, this is what I want you to bring in now. And I'm like, holy SHIT, here we go. And so if you're curious and you want to know more about that, private message me. I'm going to be releasing all the details tomorrow. And we're going to have a special introductory offer. And then when we do this again, because our intention is to run it twice a year, 3 months at a time, the rate's going to go up the next time we do it. So we're going to do an introductory offer because we're rebirthing. And so every time we rebirth, we start intro. It's like starting from square one again. I remember that. It was like, I was doing massage and I got up to like $85 an hour. And then I was like, now I'm going to do energy work. And then I was like, now we're going to do $60 an hour until we bring it back up again, right? So it's like you go through these fluctuations and you go through these waves. That's the heartbeat. But we're tuning into the heartbeat of humanity right now. And I feel like humanity needs a refresh. I feel like humanity needs to refocus their creation energy. We all need to refocus our creation energy because I think we're using it in a way that's recreating the same old. And I think many of us are tired of the same old. So we need a refresh. We need to utilize our creation energy in a more powerful way. We need to consciously start redirecting it. And that's what Actualize is going to be about. You're going to see those same changes apply in Thrive Evolution as well. So those of you that are already in Thrive, you guys are going to get a lot of that already. But we're so excited for what comes next. I'm excited for us. I'm excited for the kids. I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited for what comes next for all of us as humanity. Because like Creator said this morning, you guys, you're already creating. It's just, what are you creating is the question. And I really feel like it's time for a refinement, just so that we don't keep repeating history. You know what I mean? So I'm going to read some of the comments here. Yes, I like to bring everything through the body and somatics. I agree with you. It's so powerful. And Brooke, we still need to have you come in and do a guest talk for our clients. That's something we've been talking about for a little while. Thanks, Kat. I appreciate that. So beautiful, right? I know. I'm so excited for Aria as well. It's very, very exciting for her. I'm feeling the rebirth within myself. Today has been very much a aha moment. That's so good, Zoe. So great. So happy to hear this all. Well, thank you for being here today. Thank you for tuning into this conversation. You're going to hear more things like this because there's a lot that's been coming through me, and there's a lot that I want to share on all these things. And so stay tuned. You guys know I'm here every Monday, 10 a.m., Plug In and Power Up. That's been steady and strong for 8 years now. I've been doing Plug In and Power Up. Used to be daily. Now it's weekly. And then again, if you want any more information about Thrive Evolution to sharpen your intuition, that's what we're doing in this next module, and more from the standpoint of not just sharpening internal intuition, but how are you using that as a projector? How are you using that in your manifestations and creations? And let's get super shiny, clear, clean, so that what we're creating is very crystal clear. And then if you want more information and you're resonating more with the mastermind that we're going to be doing, it's a 3-month mastermind. Actualize. I'll be releasing all the information tomorrow. If you want in on the early registration rates, just send me a private message. I can send that all to you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of my life and journey. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. I am so grateful for all of you. And I send you all so much love and so much beauty and so many blessings. And may you be able to tap into the clearest vision for what you choose in your life, not only what is possible, but what you are choosing for your life, what you're choosing to create, what is meant to come through you, and what's meant to be actualized now. And so it is. Thank you so much for tuning in. Mwah. Love you too. Bye.